All right, let's dive right in. What happens when the food we eat stops being, well, food in the biological sense? When it stops being something grown and starts acting a lot more like something that's been engineered? That's exactly the question at the heart of what we're talking about today: food coherence.
Okay, so here's the big paradox, right? I mean, you've probably thought about this. Our food is supposedly safer than it has ever been. We've got all these regulations, super sealed packaging, all to stop us from getting sick right away. And yet, if you look around, we seem to be sicker than ever. Chronic diseases, all sorts of metabolic issues, they're just exploding. So what's going on? What piece of the puzzle are we just not seeing?
Well, here's a thought that might just explain everything. For, basically all of human history, food was a language. It was a set of biological signals that our bodies evolved to read and understand perfectly. But today, so much of what we eat isn't speaking that language anymore. It's more like an engineered molecular system. It's designed for things like industrial efficiency, maximum yield, and sitting on a shelf for months. Not for talking to our biology.
And that right there, that is the fundamental shift. We've literally gone from eating biological signals to eating technological artifacts. We're talking about stuff made with inputs that are optimized for a factory, not for a human body. And this isn't just some small change, you guys. This is a complete rewriting of the rules of what we call food.
So you might be thinking, okay, that's a big claim. Where's the proof? Well, let's put on our detective hats. We're going to look at a few clues that are hiding in plain sight in our food. Think of this as a little molecular investigation of what's really on your plate.
Okay, clue number one comes from the world of genetic engineering. So here's what happens. Scientists find a microbe, right? This little guy, Bacillus thuringiensis, naturally makes a toxin that kills certain insects. So they take the gene that makes that toxin and they splice it directly into the DNA of a plant, like corn. And what happens? The corn plant itself starts producing this pesticide in every single one of its cells. It becomes a tiny living pesticide factory. Now, just let that sink in for a second. This protein, this pesticide, it's totally new to the human diet. It's never ever been part of our food chain until very recently. And now, it's a chronic, constant thing we're eating. Our bodies have absolutely zero evolutionary history with this molecule. None.
All right, let's move on to clue number two: synthetic herbicides, like the famous one, glyphosate. Now, what does this stuff do? It's specifically engineered to break a plant's metabolism. It literally blocks a key pathway, stopping the plant from making stuff it needs to survive. So put simply, it is a molecule that was invented for one purpose: to disrupt a biological system.
But here's the kicker. It's not just the glyphosate itself, the stuff they actually spray on fields. It's a whole chemical cocktail. It's got synthetic surfactants in there, which are designed to basically dissolve the plant's protective waxy coating. It's got industrial solvents, chemical colorants, and who knows what other uncharacterized residues. So what we're really talking about isn't one single molecule. It's a whole industrial mixture ending up in our food. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. We are putting molecules into our bodies that were specifically designed to break biological boundaries. When you stop and think about that, it's kind of wild. Okay, so we've got these brand new proteins, these industrial chemical cocktails in our food. So what? Why does this actually matter for our health? Well, it all boils down to this really important idea called molecular mismatch. It's basically what happens when you get your signals crossed, when modern food technology meets our ancient biology. So let's be super clear about what this means. Molecular mismatch, it's the conflict that happens when these totally new, technologically created molecules bump up against our ancient biological machinery. Our enzymes, our immune cells, the stuff that's been fine-tuned over millions of years. It's like our bodies are running on ancient, time-tested software, and we're suddenly trying to make it run a bunch of brand new, untested code. What could go wrong, right? And here is an absolutely crucial piece of the puzzle, and it comes from how our immune system works. Your immune system doesn't see food. It doesn't look at a piece of broccoli and go, broccoli. Nope. It's a bouncer. It's a pattern recognition machine, and all it does is check IDs at the molecular level. It's constantly scanning everything and asking one simple question: friend or foe? Are you on the list? Have I seen you before? So what do you think happens when that bouncer sees a molecule with a totally unfamiliar ID? Think about the stuff we just talked about, those novel proteins from GMOs, the synthetic surfactants that come with the herbicides, even the weird modified fats and oils from heavy processing.
These are all showing up with molecular patterns our immune system has just never seen before. It has no file for them, no evolutionary reference point at all. Okay, so all of this brings us to a really powerful new way of thinking about this whole problem. It's a framework that might just solve that paradox we kicked things off with, and it's called the food coherence framework. So what is food coherence? Think of it like a compatibility score. It's asking a simple question. How well do the molecules in our food, the keys, fit into the locks of our biology, our enzymes and our immune system? A high coherence food is a perfect fit. The key turns smoothly. It's molecularly familiar. A low coherence food, that key doesn't fit. It's janky. It's molecularly strange. And this is probably the most important insight of the whole thing. For a food to cause problems, it doesn't have to be a straight-up poison that's going to kill you on the spot. No, it just needs to be a constant, low-level source of biological confusion. Think of it like metabolic noise. It's like trying to have a conversation with constant, annoying static on the line. It just messes up the signal.
And what happens over time? Well, that constant static, that metabolic noise, is just enough to keep your immune system on edge. It's on a constant low-grade alert. It can never fully relax because it keeps seeing these weird, unfamiliar molecular shapes. And what do we call a persistent low-grade immune alert? That, my friends, is the textbook definition of chronic inflammation. So where does this leave us? It pretty much means we need to rethink our entire idea of food safety. We have to shift our thinking away from just asking, is it toxic? And start asking something way more important. Is it biologically compatible? And you can see the difference right here. Our current regulations are all about old-school toxicology. The main question they ask is, if I give a lab rat a massive dose of this one thing, will it die? That's it. But the food coherence view is totally different. It asks a systems biology question. What does the cumulative exposure to this whole cocktail of weird molecules do to a living system over a lifetime? It's a completely different ballgame.
And it all leads to this one unavoidable conclusion. Legal safety is not the same thing as biological compatibility. Just because something is legally allowed in your food and won't kill you immediately, that does not mean it's compatible with your long-term health. When you get right down to it, it's really an issue of what we're optimizing for. Our modern food system has gotten absolutely brilliant at hitting industrial targets. We're talking maximum yield, insane shelf stability, super easy processing. But while we were chasing all that, we may have completely forgotten to optimize for the one thing food was always meant to be: a clear, trustworthy biological signal. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. This whole idea of food coherence is really pushing us to ask a new set of questions. It's time to move past just asking, is this food toxic? And start asking something much deeper. Is it speaking a language our biology can actually understand? Or, to put it another way, on a deep molecular level, can we really trust our food?